Humanity saved one alien ship and ended up changing the galaxy forever. HFY Sci-Fi Stories space was quiet in a way that made people uneasy. It was not empty, but it felt old, like it had seen too much and no longer cared to speak. The human exploration ship Driftway moved slowly through the edge of an abandoned star system. Its engines kept low to save power. Humanity had only been traveling beyond its home sector for a few decades, and every mission still carried risk. Most systems are mapped by older civilizations long before humans arrived, and many were labeled as worthless or dangerous. This system had both labels. Captain Aaron stood on the command deck, hands behind his back, eyes fixed on the main display. The dead star ahead gave off weak light, barely enough to paint the scattered debris around it. Broken rocks, frozen gas clouds, and the remains of something that looked like an old battle floated in silence. "Scanners are picking up nothing useful," said Mira, the navigation officer. "No stations, no life signs, just wreckage." Aaron nodded. That was expected. The mission was almost over. One more slow pass, then they would jump back to safer space and file another boring report. Then the scanner alarm sounded. It was short, sharp, and unexpected. Mira leaned forward. "Captain, I have a power signal. Very weak, not natural." The command deck grew still. "Source?" Aaron asked. Mira adjusted the scan. Her voice dropped. "It's a ship." A larger image appeared on the screen. The shape was long and uneven, with deep scars across its hull. Parts of it were missing entirely. No known human design matched it. "Alien?" Aaron asked. "Yes," Mira said, "and it's barely holding together." The silence stretched. Everyone on the deck knew the rules, even if they were not written. Humanity was small on the galactic stage. Helping unknown alien ships could invite trouble. Ignoring them was safer. Lieutenant Cole spoke carefully. "Captain, this system is marked as restricted by several major powers. If that ship belongs to one of their enemies, we could be seen as interfering." Aaron stared at the damaged vessel drifting helplessly near the dead star. It had no shields, no weapons online, no movement. "Life signs?" he asked. Mira hesitated, then nodded. "Yes, a few. Very faint." Aaron exhaled slowly. He had made his choice before he even spoke. "Prepare a rescue team," he said. "We're going in." Cole looked uneasy. "Sir, command advised, avoiding contact in zones like this." Aaron turned. "Command also said we represent humanity, and humanity does not leave people to die in the dark." No one argued after that. The Driftway approached the alien ship with care. Up close, the damage was worse than the scans suggested. Entire sections were burned black, as if torn apart by weapons far stronger than anything humans carried. The hull bore strange markings worn down by time and radiation. The boarding team entered through a ruptured section. Inside, the ship was cold and dim. Emergency lights flickered weakly. The air was thin but breathable. They found the survivors in what had once been a control chamber. 3 figures lay on the floor, wrapped in cracked armor that looked grown rather than built. Their bodies were tall and thin, their skin pale and faintly glowing. One of them stirred when the humans approached. "Easy," Aaron said softly, though he knew the alien could not understand his words. He signaled the med team forward. The survivors were alive, but only just. Their technology had failed, and their bodies were shutting down. Hours later, the alien ship was secured, and the survivors were transferred to the Driftway's medical bay. Human doctors worked with limited knowledge, adapting tools meant for humans to keep alien hearts beating. Aaron stood outside the medical bay, watching through the glass. "Will they live?" he asked quietly. Dr. Leanne shook her head slightly. "I don't know. We're guessing at half of this." "But if we had not found them, they would already be gone." Aaron nodded. That was enough. What he did not know was that they had not been alone in the system. Far beyond the dead star, hidden behind drifting debris, silent sensors watched everything. The rescue, the boarding, the transfer. Data streams flowed toward distant observers who had been monitoring the wreck for reasons of their own. A simple message was sent across subspace. "Humans have intervened." On the Driftway, one of the alien survivors opened their eyes. They were large, dark, and filled with something that looked like disbelief. The alien tried to speak. The sound was weak and broken, but full of emotion. Aaron stepped closer. "You're safe," he said, even though he knew the words would not translate. "We won't harm you." The alien stared at him for a long moment, then slowly lifted a hand. Its fingers trembled as they touched the glass separating them. It was a gesture of thanks. Over the next day, the survivors' condition stabilized. The other two remained unconscious, but alive. Human systems adapted faster than expected, learning the alien biology through trial, error, and stubborn refusal to give up. During that time, Aaron ordered a full scan of the alien ship. What they found made the crew uneasy. The ship was old, not centuries old, thousands of years old, and yet parts of its technology were beyond anything humanity understood. Systems that bent energy in unfamiliar ways, storage cores layered with protections no human code could break. "This ship doesn't belong to a small power," Cole said. "Whoever built this was once important." Aaron crossed his arms. Once. That word hung in the air. On the third day, the alien survivor regained enough strength to communicate through a basic translation system. The first clear words it spoke were simple. "You should not have saved us." The room went quiet. Aaron leaned forward. "Why?" The alien's eyes dimmed slightly. "Because others will punish you for it." Aaron gave a tired smile. "Then they should have arrived sooner." The alien studied him in silence. "We are called the Lorothi," it said. "We were once guardians of balance. Now we are hunted." Aaron did not interrupt. "Our enemies erased us slowly," the alien continued. "They destroyed our fleets, our worlds. This ship fled with knowledge meant to survive the end. It failed." Aaron felt a chill. What kind of knowledge? The alien hesitated. "The kind that changes who holds power." Before Aaron could respond, alarms rang through the driftway. Mira's voice came over the intercom, sharp with urgency. "Captain, long-range sensors are lighting up. Multiple warp signatures at the edge of the system." Aaron's jaw tightened. "How many?" There was a pause. "Too many." The alien closed its eyes. "They have found you." On the command deck, red markers appeared on the display. Ships, not human, massive, armed. Cole looked at Aaron. "Captain, they're not hailing us." Aaron straightened. Fear pressed at the edges of his mind, but he pushed it down. "Set course away from the system," he ordered. "Full power." Mira's fingers flew across the controls. Engines charging. "Jump drive in 30 seconds." The alien ships moved closer, cutting off escape routes with precise, practiced movements. "They know exactly where we are going," Cole said. Aaron glanced at the medical bay display. The alien survivor watched him from the screen. "You can still leave us," it said quietly. "Give us back. They may spare you." Aaron shook his head without hesitation. "We don't trade lives for safety." The driftway shuddered as the jump drive charged. Energy built along the hull. At the last second, a transmission cut through the noise. Cold. Clear, powerful. Unknown human vessel. "You have taken what does not belong to you. Return it, or be erased." Aaron looked at the stars ahead, then at his crew. "Jump," he said. Space twisted. The driftway vanished. Behind them, the alien fleet held position, watching the point where humanity had made its choice. And across the galaxy, systems far older than Earth began to pay attention, because one small human ship had done the unthinkable. They had chosen mercy over fear, and the galaxy would never forget it. The driftway was finally far from the dead star system, and the tension on the ship had not yet left. The alarms had stopped, but the crew remained alert, knowing that the fleet they had encountered was still watching from a distance. Captain Aaron did not speak much during the first few hours after the jump, letting the calm of space settle, though the unease in every eye told him everyone was thinking the same thing. What had they done? In the medical bay, the Lorothi survivor who had awakened, Vale, sat quietly on a stretcher. His long, pale fingers traced lines on the metal surface as if reading invisible symbols. His glowing skin dimmed, showing exhaustion, but his eyes were sharp, aware. The human medics worked tirelessly, checking vitals, adjusting oxygen levels, and trying to maintain stability in a body that was so different from their own. Every time the monitors beeped or flickered, a new worry formed on the faces of the crew. Dr. Leanne wiped her forehead and leaned close to Vale. "We are doing everything we can. You will recover, but your companions, they are not strong enough yet." Vale tilted his head slightly, watching her with those strange eyes. "I will survive," he said in broken human words. "Because of you. Humans, you are not like others." Aaron stepped into the medical bay, his boots clanging softly against the floor. He leaned against the wall, looking at Vale. "You are safe here. Nobody will harm you on this ship." Vale's eyes narrowed, and he looked toward the observation window at the stars beyond. "Safe, perhaps. But others are coming. They always know. You have put yourselves in danger. By saving me, you have drawn attention." Aaron frowned. "So we should have left you to die?" Vale shook his head. No, that was unexpected. You have no fear of death for others? That is rare? Meanwhile, the rest of the crew had started examining the alien ship they'd rescued. The Lurothi vessel was now attached to the driftway through docking clamps, and engineers had begun carefully inspecting it. What they discovered amazed and terrified them. The ship's systems were ancient and alien, and even the driftway's advanced computers struggled to interface. Energy flowed in strange patterns, shields folded into themselves when not used, and storage cores seemed to hold more information than physically possible. Cole, the first officer, stood beside Aaron, looking at a display showing the alien ship's energy flow. Captain, this technology, it's beyond our understanding. This is not a simple explorer. It was something much more important. It could change everything. Aaron nodded slowly. Then it must be protected. That is why we saved it. Cole's brow furrowed. But the people who are coming after it will not care about protection. They will only care about power. Aaron remained silent. He had thought of that. Every human aboard the driftway had thought of that. And yet, the choice to help Vale and the others had already been made. Over the next few days, the Lurothi began to recover slowly. Their bodies were fragile, but their minds remained sharp. Vale began teaching the humans about their technology, though in small ways. Every detail was a secret, every lesson measured. He wanted to trust humans, but the history of his people warned him against it. Your species has heart, Vale told Aaron one evening as the two stood near the observation deck. You risk much for others. Few beings in this galaxy do that. That is why your survival is important. Aaron looked at him carefully. We are not seeking power. We do not understand most of what your people did, but we know this. No one deserves to die alone, even if the galaxy has already decided their fate. Vale seemed to consider this, then slowly nodded. Perhaps that is why you will change things. Because mercy is dangerous. The crew worked to adapt human systems to the Lurothi ship. It was difficult. Power flows were unpredictable. Shields could not be activated without causing energy surges. Even basic life support systems required constant monitoring. The human engineers argued and struggled, but they persisted, driven by a mixture of fear and determination. During this time, strange transmissions began reaching the driftway. They were faint, but they carried patterns that humans recognized as messages, encrypted, old, and unfamiliar. Aaron allowed Mira, the communications officer, to attempt translation. Hours passed, with no progress. Every partial message suggested that someone somewhere had noticed the driftway's actions. It is them, Vale whispered one night. They are aware you have rescued us. They will come. Aaron did not respond, but his hands tightened around the railing. They all knew it was true. The galaxy did not forget easily, and helping a fallen species was not something that went unnoticed. Then, without warning, a message arrived, simple but clear. It was not in human language, but the translation system managed to convert it. Return the Lurothi. Or face destruction. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Aaron's jaw tightened. They think threats will work on us, he said. They are wrong. Cole stepped forward. Captain, we are outnumbered. Way outnumbered. Even with all our tricks, we cannot win a direct fight. Aaron looked at the stars beyond the observation window. Then we will not fight directly. We will do what we must to survive and protect them. That is enough for now. The next days were tense. Every distant sensor ping was treated as a possible threat. The Lurothi began to share more knowledge with humans. Vale showed them parts of the ship's navigation systems, teaching human engineers how to read unusual energy patterns in star maps. Slowly, the Driftway crew began to understand the basics. It was more than technology. It was history. Vale spoke of the Lurothi's role in the galaxy, of their responsibility to maintain balance among civilizations, and of the enemies who sought to destroy them. The humans listened in awe. Desertion that once held power over the fate of worlds, and now fragments of that knowledge were in human hands. Aaron stood quietly in the observation deck one evening watching the distant stars. We may have just made ourselves enemies, he said. But if we had not done this, we would have lost something more than just lives. We would have lost our honor. Vale's voice echoed in his mind, though he spoke aloud softly. You do not yet understand. By saving us, you have drawn the attention of forces older than you imagine. They will watch you, and they will test you. That night, the Driftway's sensors picked up movement at the edge of known space. Small at first, then larger. ships moving in patterns that suggested coordination. Observations showed warships unlike anything humans had seen. Mira turned to Aaron, fear in her eyes. "Captain, they are coming. They know where we are." Aaron nodded. "Then we prepare, not for attack, but for survival. And we protect them." That is what we chose. Vale watched silently from the medical bay, and though he had grown weak, there was a glimmer of hope in his eyes. Humans were unpredictable, they were fragile. They were foolish. But they had heart, and that heart was stronger than the machines and weapons of the galaxy. The Driftway moved through space carefully, avoiding known trade routes, keeping distance from patrols and hiding its presence where possible. But no matter how careful they were, Vale knew the galaxy would not forget the humans' mercy. Days passed. Tension grew. Every communication, every ping on the sensors, every unexplained shadow on the scanners was treated as a possible threat. The humans adapted quickly. Their technology improved slightly with the lessons from the Lorothi, giving them small advantages, but not enough to truly defend against the forces already aware of them. During this time, Aaron walked the corridors, speaking quietly with his crew, encouraging them, listening to fears, and sharing his own. The crew began to understand that their mission had changed. They were no longer just explorers. They were protectors, guardians of something far greater than themselves. One night, Vale spoke to Aaron privately. "The galaxy has rules," he said, "and some of them do not include mercy. You have broken those rules. Others will see you as dangerous." Aaron looked at him steadily. "Then we will be dangerous in a way that matters. We will protect life even when it is risky. That is what makes us human." Vale studied him, then nodded slowly. "Perhaps that is why you are worth saving. Perhaps humanity will change things, but the cost will be high." The Driftway continued through the quiet of space, carrying 3 fragile survivors, technology older than human history, and a crew that had already learned more about courage than they had ever imagined. The galaxy was watching, and the first ripples of change were already spreading, unnoticed by most, but unstoppable once set in motion. As the days turned into weeks, the human crew grew closer to the Lorothi survivors, learning their language, sharing meals, and exchanging knowledge. Every small success brought hope. Every alarm and sensor ping brought fear. And through it all, Aaron and his crew held the simple truth in their hearts. They had chosen to help. They had chosen to act with mercy. And that choice, small as it seemed, had already begun to change the galaxy. Far beyond their reach, hidden watchers recorded every movement. They noted the humans' bravery, their compassion, and their stubborn refusal to give up. The galaxy had taken notice, and for the first time, the humans' small actions had weight that could echo across star systems. And though the future was uncertain and danger was approaching faster than anyone could guess, the humans aboard the Driftway had already made history. They had saved 1 alien ship. And in doing so, they had begun to change the galaxy forever. The Driftway moved quietly through the black of space, its hull humming softly with the energy of human and alien systems working together. Captain Aaron stood on the observation deck, staring at the endless stretch of stars ahead. He had learned to read the patterns of the universe in a way he never had before, noticing small movements in distant sectors, energy fluctuations, and strange readings that made the crew uneasy. Humanity was no longer alone in the galaxy, and the simple act of saving Vale and his companions had drawn attention from far beyond known space. Lieutenant Cole approached him, eyes sharp with concern. "Captain, the sensors are picking up multiple fleets approaching from different directions. They are not coordinating in a way we understand. Some are scanning for us, others are holding back. They seem curious." Aaron nodded. "Curiosity is dangerous in this galaxy. We need to prepare, but we cannot show fear." "That is what they will expect." Cole hesitated. "Captain, some of these fleets are enormous. Their ships are thousands of times larger than ours. We cannot fight them head on." Aaron looked out into the void. "Then we will not fight them head on. We will survive, and we will protect them. That is what matters." He gestured toward the medical bay, where Vale and the other Lorothi were resting. "And this is why we fight." In the medical bay, Vale had begun to regain his strength, his glowing skin slowly returning, though faintly. He watched the humans with a careful, measuring gaze, aware of both their courage and their inexperience. Despite his own weakened state, he began to communicate more, teaching them about the ancient Lorothi technology they carried. "Our people once maintained balance among civilizations," Vale said softly, his voice almost musical. "We were guardians, but we failed. Our enemies hunted us, destroyed our fleets, our worlds. This ship carried fragments of knowledge meant to survive the end. You have rescued it, and with it, you hold the power of choice. Aaron listened carefully. We do not seek power, he said. We seek only to protect life. That is all humanity has ever wanted. Vale studied him, then nodded slowly. Perhaps that is why you are dangerous. Perhaps that is why others will notice you. Days passed. As the Driftway continued its careful journey through the uncharted regions, the humans worked tirelessly, adapting their systems to the Lorothi ship. Every new insight gave them a slight edge, but nothing could fully prepare them for the fleets now tracking them across space. One evening, the communications officer, Mira, brought a series of encrypted transmissions to Aaron. Captain, we are receiving messages from multiple species, she said. Some are diplomatic, others are threats. They all mention the Lorothi and your involvement. Aaron frowned. Translate everything. We need to understand who is watching and why. Hours later, the messages were decoded. Powerful empires demanded the Lorothi survivors be handed over. Some threatened humanity with destruction. Others offered protection in exchange for loyalty. None understood that the humans did not negotiate from fear or greed. They negotiated from principle. Cole shook his head. Captain, they do not understand us. They will see mercy as weakness. Aaron's eyes narrowed. Then they will see courage instead. Mercy is not weakness. It is the most dangerous strength in the galaxy. Vale watched these exchanges with quiet fascination. Your species, you are unpredictable. You do not seek advantage in a way others do. That may save you, or it may destroy you. As the Driftway moved, small groups of alien species, previously hidden from human knowledge, began sending envoys. Some sought to warn humanity of impending danger. Others approached cautiously, curious about the humans' choices. The galaxy, it seemed, was taking notice of this small, fragile species that acted without self-interest. On the bridge, Aaron gathered his senior crew. We are in a position no human has ever faced. We are not the strongest, not the fastest, not the most advanced, but we are the bravest, and we are the most determined. We will continue to protect those in our care. That is our mission, and it is enough. Cole nodded, though unease lingered in his eyes. Captain, I understand. But what if they come for us? We cannot hide forever. Aaron smiled faintly. Then we will do what humans always do. We will adapt, survive, and fight when necessary. And we will not give up anyone under our protection. Meanwhile, Vale began teaching more about Lorothi energy systems. The crew learned to manipulate the alien technology in small ways, using energy flows to improve the Driftway's engines and shields. The knowledge was subtle, but it gave humanity hope. One night, as the Driftway passed near a dense cluster of stars, Vale spoke to Aaron privately. The galaxy has rules. Your species has broken them by showing mercy. They will not forgive it. But in that breaking, you have created something new. You can choose differently. You can change the future. Aaron looked at the stars, thinking of the fleets now moving quietly toward them. We will choose the right way. We may be weak, but we are not powerless. And we will not abandon anyone in need. Vale's eyes glimmered faintly. Perhaps that is why you are human. Perhaps that is why you will be remembered. Suddenly, the Driftway's sensors detected movement. At first, it was small, almost insignificant. Then it became clear. Multiple fleets were approaching. Ships of all sizes, from small patrol vessels to massive warships, were moving with precision. They did not attempt communication. They were assessing, probing, preparing. Mira turned to Aaron, her voice tense. Captain, they are too many. They could destroy us if they choose. Aaron nodded. Then we do not give them that choice. We move carefully, avoid conflict, and protect the Lorothi. That is all we can do. Cole added, Captain, some of these ships are not human. Their technology, it is advanced. Faster than anything we have seen. Aaron's gaze hardened. Then we will use what we have learned. We will fight if necessary, but first we survive, and we protect those who cannot protect themselves. The next days were filled with careful maneuvers, constant scanning, and tense moments. The Driftway avoided patrols, altered course to escape detection, and relied on every trick the crew knew. Vale guided them through unknown star clusters, using Lorothi knowledge to hide from the eyes of the galaxy. During this time, the humans began to realize the extent of what they had saved. The Lorothi ship contained archives, fragments of history, and technology lost to the galaxy. Small pieces of that knowledge were now in human hands. They could improve their systems, understand patterns in space, and even glimpse strategies used by powerful empires. But Vale warned them constantly. Knowledge is dangerous. Use it carefully. Others will see it as a threat, and threats will bring war. Aaron accepted the warning but refused to be paralyzed by it. We use it to protect life. That is all. If others see a threat, then so be it. We will not abandon our principles. One day, an alien envoy approached them, a small ship that moved with cautious precision. It hailed the driftway and sent a message. Vale helped translate. The message was simple. Humans, we have watched. Your actions are unusual. Some call you reckless, others brave. You hold the key to events beyond your understanding. Beware the attention you have drawn. Aaron replied carefully, stating only what was necessary. They would not give away their intentions or show weakness. Vale looked at him afterwards. You have already changed things. Even without realizing it, the galaxy is reacting to you. Some will admire you, some will fear you, and some will hunt you. That is the consequence of mercy. As the driftway continued its journey, the crew adapted. Humans were never strong compared to the galaxy's great powers, but they were clever, persistent, and unafraid to act when it mattered. They repaired, learned, and survived. And every day, Vale and his companions taught them something new, not only about technology, but about responsibility, balance, and the unseen forces that govern the stars. Aaron often found himself on the observation deck at night, thinking about what lay ahead. Fleets were gathering, alliances were shifting, and danger was closer than it had ever been. But he also thought of the survivors they carried, the lives they had saved, and the simple truth that humans had acted with kindness when no one else would. Cole approached him quietly one evening. "Captain, do you think we will survive what is coming?" Aaron turned, his eyes steady. "I do not know, but I know we will face it together, and whatever happens, we have already made a mark. The galaxy has noticed humanity, and that cannot be undone." Vale watched silently from the medical bay, his expression unreadable. "Your species, you are strange. You act without reason sometimes, and yet it is that very strangeness that gives you strength. You may survive, or you may change everything." The driftway moved through the stars, carrying humans and Lorothi alike. Each day brought new tension, new discoveries, and new warnings. The galaxy was no longer distant and abstract. It was close, observing and waiting. And humanity, fragile and untested, had become something it had never imagined, a player in a much larger game. The humans had saved one alien ship. They had acted out of mercy, and in doing so, they had drawn the attention of the entire galaxy. The consequences were coming, and the first tests of human courage and determination were only just beginning. The driftway moved cautiously through the shadowed space near a dense cluster of stars, its hull glowing faintly as it absorbed energy from both human and Lorothi systems. Captain Aaron paced the bridge, watching the scanners flicker with distant blips of movement. The fleets that had been following them were now closer, their presence undeniable yet still cautious. Every day the humans learned something new about their pursuers, but every day the threat grew more real. Lieutenant Cole stood beside him, eyes scanning the display. "Captain, they are testing us. Ships are moving in formations we cannot fully predict. They are trying to see our limits." Aaron nodded slowly. "Then we will show them. Not by surrendering, not by fighting blindly, but by surviving. That is enough for now." In the medical bay, Vale and the other Lorothi continued to recover. Their bodies were still fragile, but their minds were sharp. They studied humans, watched their actions, and shared knowledge in careful increments. Vale had begun teaching energy manipulation techniques, showing how small adjustments could strengthen shields and engines without causing catastrophic overloads. Human engineers absorbed every lesson eagerly, testing systems again and again until mistakes became rare. "Your species learns fast," Val said one evening as he observed the engineering crew. "Perhaps faster than you realize. But knowledge is not enough. The galaxy will not forgive mercy, and it will not wait." Aaron listened quietly. He understood the warning. The galaxy had long memories, and helping a weakened species, while morally right, had changed how humans were seen. Some would admire them, some would fear them, and some would seek to destroy them before they grew stronger. The first confrontation came unexpectedly. A fleet of alien ships, smaller but faster than the driftway, appeared at the edge of the star cluster. They moved in a disciplined pattern, closing the distance with precision. Cole turned to Aaron. "Captain, they are not attacking yet. They are probing, trying to see how we respond." Aaron nodded. "Then we respond with caution. Prepare all systems. Shields up. Engines ready, no rash moves." Mira's hands flew over the controls, monitoring energy signatures and scanning for weak points. Every crew member was tense. The humans were outnumbered, outgunned, and facing forces they could barely understand. Yet there was determination in every eye, a refusal to surrender to fear. Vale stepped onto the bridge, leaning on a support frame. "You were brave," he said softly, "and foolish. But sometimes foolishness is stronger than reason. Remember that." The alien fleet adjusted its formation, closing the distance further. Red markers appeared on the scanners, showing multiple threats converging from different directions. Aaron gave orders calmly, each word measured. "Maintain distance. Keep the Lorothi ship secure. If they attempt to strike, we will evade and protect our cargo. No heroics, no unnecessary risk." Despite the tension, the humans acted with precision. The Driftway's shields absorbed the first energy pulses fired by the approaching ships. The pulses were not meant to destroy, but to test, to force a reaction. Aaron and his crew responded by maneuvering with unexpected creativity, exploiting small gravitational pockets and debris fields to avoid direct hits. Cole whispered almost to himself. They did not expect humans to think this way. Aaron smiled faintly. Then we have already shown them our strength. Hours passed. The alien fleet continued its probing, firing occasional energy bursts, scanning systems, and retreating before humans could respond fully. It was a dance of observation and evasion, and the Driftway held its own, barely. Every small victory built confidence, and every narrow escape sharpened the crew's instincts. Vale watched silently from the observation deck. "Your species fights differently than others," he said. "Not for conquest, not for pride, but for protection. That makes you unpredictable. That makes you dangerous." Cole shook his head. "Dangerous? We are fragile. We cannot match them in strength." Vale smiled faintly. "Strength is not only in power. Sometimes it is in courage. And in stubbornness. You have both in abundance." As the sun rose over a distant system, the alien fleet finally withdrew, leaving the Driftway unscathed but shaken. The humans had survived, and the Lorothi had been protected. For the first time, a flicker of hope entered the crew's minds. Humanity had faced the test and survived, not by overwhelming force, but by cleverness, courage, and unity. Aaron gathered his senior officers on the bridge. "We have learned something today," he said. "The galaxy underestimates humans. That is our advantage. They do not understand how we fight, how we think, or how far we are willing to go to protect others. Remember that." Cole nodded. "But this was only a test. Larger fleets will come. And next time, they may not retreat." Aaron looked out into the stars. "Then we will be ready. We will adapt. We will survive, and we will protect those who cannot protect themselves." In the following days, the humans focused on improving their ship and refining the knowledge shared by Vale. Engineers worked tirelessly, combining human technology with Lorothi energy systems. Shields became more efficient. Engines responded more quickly. Energy flows were optimized, giving the Driftway small but crucial advantages. Vale observed the work quietly, his eyes thoughtful. "You are learning fast," he said. "But remember, knowledge alone will not save you. The galaxy will test you in ways you cannot imagine. You must be ready to act, not only with skill but with heart." One night, as the Driftway drifted near an uncharted nebula, the humans noticed a signal far beyond their sensors. It was weak, irregular, and unfamiliar. Mira adjusted the communication arrays, trying to decipher it. Hours later, the message became clear. It was a warning. A single line of data. Simple, direct, and chilling. Humanity will not stand alone. Your actions will bring storms. Prepare. Aaron read the message carefully, then looked at his crew. They are warning us, or threatening us. Either way, we are now a part of something far larger than ourselves. We cannot ignore it, and we will not flee. Cole's face was pale. "Captain, this is worse than I imagined. We are small, and they are many. We cannot fight them directly." Aaron's jaw tightened. "Then we will not fight them directly. Adapt and protect those in our care. That is all that matters. That is humanity's strength." Vale nodded slowly. "You have already changed the course of events. Your actions will ripple across the galaxy. Some will admire you, some will fear you, and some will hunt you. You must be ready for all of it." Days turned into weeks as the Driftway continued its journey. The humans and Lorothi worked together, learning from each other, teaching, and improving systems. Every minor success strengthened the crew's confidence, and every near escape sharpened their instincts. Then, without warning, a new fleet appeared. This time, it was larger, more organized, and more aggressive. The Driftway sensors lit up with red markers. The aliens did not communicate. They fired energy pulses to force the humans to respond. The driftway dodged and weaved through the debris of a nearby destroyed planet, narrowly avoiding destruction. Cole shouted, "Captain, they are testing our limits." "We cannot hold them forever," Aaron responded calmly. "Then we do not hold them forever. We survive, and we protect those who cannot protect themselves. That is enough." Vale watched from the observation deck, his eyes glowing faintly. "Your species is remarkable," he said quietly. "You fight without desire for power. That is what makes you dangerous. That is what makes you strong." Hours later, the fleet finally retreated, leaving the driftway battered but intact. The humans had survived another test, proving that courage, intelligence, and unity could overcome even overwhelming odds. Aaron gathered his crew. "We have done what few could. We have survived when others expected us to fail. That is our strength, and it is only the beginning. The galaxy is watching, and we will show it that humanity does not abandon those in need." Vale nodded. "And that is why you will change everything. Because mercy, when others expect cruelty, is the most dangerous force in the galaxy." The driftway continued through the stars, carrying humans and Larothi alike. Each day brought new challenges, new threats, and new lessons. Every success strengthened the bond between the crew and the survivors they protected. The galaxy was no longer distant and silent. It was alive, watching and reacting to humanity's choices. And humanity, small and fragile, had proven that courage and mercy could be stronger than fleets, weapons, and fear. The first great test was over. But the galaxy was not done with humanity yet. The fleets, the empires, and the hidden observers were still out there. And the next test would demand even more than the humans had already given. For now, they had survived. And that survival had sent a clear message. Humans could fight, humans could protect, and humans could change the course of events in ways no one had expected. And across the stars, far beyond the reach of the driftway's sensors, forces older than any human mind had imagined were beginning to take notice. Because one small species acting out of mercy had begun to reshape the galaxy forever, the driftway moved steadily through the outer edges of known space, its hull scarred from past encounters but still strong. Captain Aaron stood on the observation deck, watching the stars drift by. Every sensor ping, every distant energy reading reminded him that the galaxy had taken notice of humanity. They were no longer explorers. They were players in a game far larger than anything they had ever imagined. Lieutenant Cole approached, his face tense. "Captain, the fleets are still tracking us. Reports suggest multiple factions are preparing for coordinated action. We cannot remain hidden forever." Aaron nodded slowly. "We do not need to hide. We need to be ready. Survival is our first priority. Protection of the Larothi is our second, and everything else will follow." In the medical bay, Vale and the other Larothi were recovering well. Their bodies, once fragile, now showed strength as they adapted to human medical technology. They moved carefully around the ship, helping where they could, sharing knowledge of systems far beyond human understanding. Vale had begun teaching small energy manipulation techniques, showing how to optimize power flows and reinforce shields without overwhelming the driftway's systems. "You learn quickly?" Vale said one evening as he observed the engineers adjusting energy conduits. "Faster than I expected, but the galaxy will not wait for you to catch up. You must act not only with skill, but with heart." Aaron leaned against a railing, watching the stars. "We have heart. That is why we will survive. That is why we protect others. The rest will follow." Suddenly a transmission arrived on the comm system. The signal was weak but unmistakable. It was from an unknown fleet, and the message was direct. "Surrender the Larothi or face annihilation." Cole turned pale. "Captain, they are serious. There is no negotiation here." Aaron's jaw tightened. "Then we will not negotiate. We will protect them, and we will survive. That is all we can do." The next hours were tense. The driftway maneuvered carefully, avoiding patrols and scouting for safe routes. The human crew worked tirelessly, reinforcing shields, repairing engines, and studying the alien technology. Every small improvement gave them hope, but they knew it was not enough against a coordinated fleet. Vale approached Aaron in the observation deck. "Your species is remarkable," he said softly. "You act without fear for yourselves, only for others. That is why the galaxy fears you. That is why they will test you." Aaron nodded. "We do not act for fear. We act because it is the right thing to do. That is all humanity has ever wanted." Days passed, and the driftway encountered more alien observers. Some were curious, sending messages of caution. Others were hostile, testing sensors and energy fields around the ship. The humans learned quickly, adapting and finding creative solutions to survive. Cole shook his head one evening. Captain, they do not understand our methods. They expect us to fight or surrender. We do neither. They will come for us with everything they have. Aaron's eyes were steady. Then we will be ready. We may be small, we may be fragile, but we have courage, intelligence, and determination. That is enough to survive and protect those who cannot protect themselves. Meanwhile, Vale began sharing fragments of Lorothi knowledge more openly. Small improvements in energy systems allowed the Driftway to outmaneuver attacks, optimize power distribution, and maintain shields longer than any human-designed system should have allowed. Each lesson was subtle, carefully measured, but every success strengthened the crew's confidence. You must be careful, Vale warned one night. Knowledge is dangerous. The galaxy will see it as a threat. And threats will bring war. Aaron listened, understanding the warning, but refused to be paralyzed by it. We use this knowledge to protect life, that is all. If others see it as a threat, then so be it. We will not abandon our principles. Weeks passed, and the Driftway's reputation grew among nearby star systems. Rumors of a small human ship protecting Lorothi survivors spread quietly, carried by scouts and travelers. Some species began reaching out, offering cautious aid or sharing intelligence. Others prepared fleets, waiting for the humans to make a mistake. One day the sensors picked up a massive fleet moving toward the Driftway. It was the largest force they had seen yet, thousands of ships moving in perfect coordination. Mira's voice trembled as she reported the readings. Captain, this fleet is enormous. We cannot hide. We cannot outrun them. Aaron's face was calm, but his mind raced. Prepare for evasive maneuvers. Optimize shields. Reinforce the Lorothi ship. We will survive, and we will protect them. Cole looked at him with concern. Captain, they could destroy us in minutes? Aaron met his gaze steadily. Then we will survive longer than they expect. That is all we need. Vale stood beside them on the bridge. Your species is strange, he said quietly. You fight without desire for power, without desire for conquest. You fight for others. That makes you unpredictable. That makes you strong. As the fleet approached, energy pulses lit up the Driftway's sensors. The first attacks were not meant to destroy, but to test, to force humans to react. The Driftway dodged and weaved through asteroid fields and debris, using every trick they had learned. Every near miss strengthened the crew's resolve. Hours passed in tense silence, broken by bursts of energy and alarms. The humans adapted quickly, combining their own technology with Lorothi systems to create small but crucial advantages. They were fragile, outnumbered, and outgunned, but they survived. And in surviving, they began to change the way the galaxy perceived them. Captain, Cole said, watching the scanners, they are learning from us. They expected easy victory. We are showing them that humans do not surrender. Aaron nodded. That is the point. We are not fighting for glory. We are fighting to protect those who cannot protect themselves, and that is more powerful than fleets, weapons, or fear. Vale observed quietly. You have already changed things. Your actions will ripple across the galaxy. Some will admire you, some will fear you, and some will hunt you. You must be ready for all of it. The battle continued for days, though no one aboard the Driftway could call it a victory or a defeat. The humans had survived, and the Lorothi had been protected. For the first time, hope entered the hearts of the crew. Humanity had faced overwhelming odds and survived not by power, but by cleverness, courage, and unity. Aaron gathered the senior officers. We have done what few could. We have survived when others expected us to fail. That is our strength. And it is only the beginning. The galaxy is watching, and we will show it that humanity does not abandon those in need. Cole nodded. Captain, they will return. And next time, they will bring more. They will not forgive this display of mercy. Aaron looked at him steadily. Then we will be ready. We will continue to protect those who cannot protect themselves. And we will survive. That is what humans do. Vale's eyes glimmered faintly. And that is why you will change everything. Because mercy, when others expect cruelty, is the most dangerous force in the galaxy. The Driftway continued through the stars, carrying humans and Lorothi alike. Each day brought new challenges, threats, and lessons. Every success strengthened the bond between the crew and the survivors they protected. The galaxy was no longer distant and silent. It was alive, watching and reacting to humanity's choices. And humanity, small and fragile, had proven that courage and mercy could be stronger than fleets, weapons, and fear. The first great test was over. But the galaxy was not done with humanity yet. Fleets, empires, and hidden observers were still out there, and the next test would demand even more than the humans had already given. For now, they had survived, and that survival had sent a clear message. Humans could fight, humans could protect, and humans could change the course of events in ways no one had expected, because one small species acting out of mercy had begun to reshape the galaxy forever. The driftway moved through the quiet darkness of space, its hull battered but still holding strong. Captain Aaron stood on the observation deck, staring at the distant stars. The galaxy had already noticed humanity, fleets had come and gone, observers had watched and recorded their actions. Rumors of a human ship protecting alien survivors spread across star systems. And now, the final test was approaching. Lieutenant Cole approached, his face tense but determined. "Captain, intelligence reports suggest that multiple empires are moving toward our position. This is the largest force we have seen. They are coordinating for a decisive action. They will not retreat." Aaron nodded. "Then, we do what we have always done. We survive, we protect those in our care, and we act with courage. That is humanity's strength. In the medical bay, Vale and the other Lorothi were now fully recovered. Their bodies were strong, their minds sharp. Vale had begun to share more advanced knowledge with the human engineers. He demonstrated how to manipulate energy flows on a larger scale, how to balance the driftway's shields with precise timing, and how to predict energy pulses from enemy weapons. Humans adapted quickly, combining the alien knowledge with their own systems. Every adjustment made the driftway stronger, more resilient, and more unpredictable. Vale spoke to Aaron privately. "The galaxy will test you now. They will bring everything they have. Your species is small, fragile, and unprepared, but your courage, your mercy, your unpredictability, that will make a difference. You can survive. You can change things, but it will not be easy." Aaron looked out at the stars. "We will survive. Not for ourselves, but for those who cannot survive alone. That is all we need." Sensors began to pick up the approaching fleets. The first signs were distant, faint energy signatures. Then more appeared, larger and more numerous, moving with precision. The driftway's scanners lit up with red markers, hundreds of ships converging from multiple directions. The humans were outnumbered, outgunned, and facing the most powerful forces they had yet encountered. Mira's voice trembled as she reported the readings. "Captain, this fleet is enormous. We cannot hide. We cannot outrun them. They will attack." Aaron's jaw tightened. "Then we face them, not recklessly, not without thought, but with the courage we have always had. Shields up, engines ready. Protect the Lorothi at all costs." Cole shook his head. "Captain, they could destroy us in minutes." Aaron met his gaze steadily. "Then we survive longer than they expect. That is all we need. And we will protect life while we do it." Vale joined them on the bridge. "Your species is remarkable," he said softly. "You do not fight for power. You fight for others. That is why you are unpredictable. That is why you are strong." The fleets closed in, their energy pulses lighting up space. The first attacks came, but the driftway moved with precision, dodging through asteroid fields and debris clouds. Shields held, but energy drained quickly. Every move required careful calculation, creativity, and courage. Hours passed in tense silence, broken only by alarms and warning lights. Every crew member acted with determination, adapting to new threats and supporting each other. The humans were fragile, but their unity, skill, and heart allowed them to survive. Cole whispered, "Captain, they are learning from us. They expected surrender or fear. We are showing them that humans do neither." Aaron nodded. "That is the point. We are not fighting for power. We fight to protect life. That is more powerful than fleets, weapons, or fear." Vale watched quietly. "Your actions will ripple across the galaxy. Some will admire you, some will fear you, and some will hunt you. You must be ready for all of it." The battle continued for days. Energy pulses lit up the void. Ships moved in calculated patterns. The driftway endured, its shields holding, its engines responding, and the crew acting with courage and skill. Every maneuver, every decision was a test of human determination. Despite the overwhelming odds, the driftway survived. The humans protected the Lorothi, and their actions became a symbol across nearby systems. They were fragile, yes, but they had shown that courage, mercy, and unity could overcome fear and strength. Aaron gathered the senior officers. "We have survived what many believed impossible. We have protected life when others expected us to fail. That is humanity's strength. And it is only the beginning. The galaxy is watching, and we have sent a message. Humans do not abandon those in need." Cole nodded. Captain, they will return. And next time, it may be even worse. They will not forgive this display of mercy. Aaron looked at him steadily. Then we will be ready. We will continue to protect life, and we will survive. That is what humans do. Vale's eyes glimmered faintly. And that is why you will change everything. Because mercy, when others expect cruelty, is the most dangerous force in the galaxy. The Driftway continued its journey through the stars, carrying humans and Lorothi alike. Each day brought new challenges, new threats, and new lessons. Every success strengthened the bond between the crew and the survivors they protected. The galaxy was no longer distant and silent. It was alive, observing and reacting to humanity's choices. The humans had saved one alien ship. They had acted out of mercy, and in doing so, they had drawn the attention of the entire galaxy. Now, the final test had come. Fleets, empires, and hidden observers were converging. The Driftway was small, but it was resilient. Fragile, yet determined. Weak, yet courageous. The humans had proven that even in the face of overwhelming odds, they would survive and protect those in need. The Lorothi watched silently, their glowing forms a reminder of what humanity had chosen to protect. Vale spoke softly, almost to himself. They may destroy your ships, your technology, your cities, but they cannot destroy your courage. They cannot destroy your heart. That is why you are dangerous. That is why you will change the galaxy. Aaron stood on the observation deck, watching the converging fleets. The stars ahead were filled with potential destruction, but also possibility. We will survive, he whispered. We will protect those who cannot protect themselves, and we will prove that mercy and courage are stronger than fear. The battle began. Energy pulses lit up space. I would be so happy. Ships moved in calculated patterns. The Driftway dodged, countered, and adapted, using every lesson learned, every fragment of Lorothi knowledge, and every ounce of human courage. The fleets were vast, their weapons powerful, but the humans endured. For days, the struggle continued. The Driftway's hull was damaged, shields flickered, and engines strained, but the crew remained determined. They were small, fragile, and inexperienced compared to the fleets they faced, but they had heart, unity, and courage. That was more powerful than any weapon. In the midst of the chaos, Vale's knowledge proved crucial. He guided the humans, showing energy flows, predicting enemy pulses, and finding ways to use the Driftway's systems in unexpected ways. The humans adapted quickly, learning from every near miss, every calculation, every instinctive move. Cole shouted over the alarms. Captain, they are retreating. They are not expecting us to survive this long. Aaron smiled faintly. Then we have already changed the game. Humanity survives, protects, and endures. That is our message. As the fleets finally withdrew, the Driftway remained intact. The humans had survived, protected the Lorothi, and proven that even the smallest, most fragile species could make a difference. Across the galaxy, observers recorded the events, spreading the story of a human ship that acted with mercy, courage, and determination. Vale approached Aaron. You have done the impossible. You have survived. You have protected life. You have changed the galaxy? Aaron shook his head. We did what any species with heart would do. We acted with courage, even when it was dangerous. That is all humanity has ever wanted. Vale smiled faintly. Then humanity will be remembered. Not for power, not for conquest, but for mercy, courage, and heart. And that is more dangerous than any fleet, any weapon. The Driftway moved forward, carrying humans and Lorothi alike. Each day brought new challenges, threats, and lessons. Every success strengthened the bond between the crew and the survivors they protected. The galaxy was no longer distant and silent. It was alive, observing and reacting to humanity's choices. And humanity, small and fragile, had proven that courage and mercy could be stronger than fleets, weapons, and fear. The first great test was over. But humanity's journey was only beginning. Fleets, empires, and hidden observers remained. The galaxy was vast, dangerous, and unpredictable. But humanity had survived, protected life, and shown that even the smallest species could change the course of events. Because one small human ship, acting out of mercy, had begun to reshape the galaxy forever, and the echoes of their courage would be felt for generations to come. The galaxy had changed, humanity had changed it, and in the darkness of space among stars and fleets and unknown observers, the Driftway continued its journey, carrying hope, courage, and the unyielding belief that mercy could be stronger than fear, and that belief, fragile and simple as it was, had already begun to change the fate of the galaxy.